Has anybody here, like, when you were a kid, you know, grandma, mom, dad sit you down and tell you various stories? Where a rabbit, Nancy, Bukiat Malis. You didn't know, I knew that, yeah. Si Malis. Anyway, this brother here, he always brings beautiful stories to the stage from all over the world. So please give a warm round of applause for JD Hobbes. And a me one.
Don't be shy.
So seeing as how it's coming on to April Fool's Day, I thought it would be appropriate, although impossible to raise this thing, I thought it would be appropriate to tell a wise fool story. So, wise fools. So once upon a time, there was a bishop. Now, this bishop was from Spain, and he ruled over a small town. And as with many rulers, sometimes they can be a little greedy, a little corrupt. And that was the case with this bishop. Now, he had power and he had money, but he craved more. And he got as much money and power as he could get until he could get no more, and the problem was the Jews. Because in that town, the Jewish community, they controlled the businesses, they controlled the power, and the bishop wanted more. And he knew that he couldn't get more unless he found a way to get rid of the Jews. Now, the bishop was not a violent man. He didn't want a conflict. The last thing he wanted was bloodshed. And he knew that the Jewish community was proud. He also knew that they were very academic. They were scholarly. And so he decided that he would challenge the Jews to a debate. And the winner would stay, and the loser would go. Now, of all the people in the Jewish community that he could have debated, he chose Joshua. Now, Joshua was not a learned man. He wasn't an academic. He was a simple farmer. But the bishop was confident that he could debate this man and win. Now, the other problem was that, well, the bishop could speak Spanish, and he could speak a little French and some Latin. And Joshua, well, he could speak a little Yiddish, and that's pretty much it. And there wasn't enough language between the two of them to have this debate. And so the bishop decided that they would have the debate in silence. They would have the debate in silence, and somehow God would find a way to make it work. And so they agreed upon a date. And the bishop and Joshua, bishop with his entourage, came into the center of the town, and Joshua came with his entourage. The two men met in the town square. They shook hands, and the debate began. And the bishop held up 3 fingers, and Joshua held up 1. And the bishop waved his arms above his head, and Joshua beat his chest and he stamped his foot. And then from his robes, the bishop pulled out a chalice and a wafer. And from his jacket, Joshua pulled out an apple. And as soon as he pulled out the apple, the bishop said, "He's won! He's won! I've been defeated! They can stay! The Jews can stay! I've lost the debate!" And he stormed off with his entourage chasing after him. When they came back to the bishop's changing room, he was removing his clothing, he was packing up his bags, and he was weeping. And they said, "What happened? How could you possibly have lost this debate against this man?" And the bishop was God has sent me a man. God has sent me this man, and he has shown me that I've been corrupted and I've lost my way. I told Joshua. I told him about the Trinity. But no, Joshua pointed to God and showed me that it was the same God for both of us. So I raised my arms to the sky and said, "God is all around us." And Joshua said, "No, God is right here within our hearts, right here on the ground with us all the time." So in desperation, I pulled out the chalice and I pulled out the wafer to remind the Jews of the sacrifices that Jesus made for us. But Joshua pulled out the apple of original sin, and reminded us that we were all fallible, and we are all connected together by that fallibility. And it is God who has sent me this man to show me that I am fallible, and I have given in to my weaknesses so they can stay. In the meantime, Joshua went back to his community, and they looked at him, and they said, "What happened?" He says, "I have no idea." The bishop said we had 3 days to leave the city. And I said, "You do that, and I will knock that hat off your head." Then the bishop said, "We have you surrounded, Joshua." And I said, "I'm right here. Come and get me." And then the bishop took out his lunch, and I took out my lunch. And it just goes to show that the fools always have the best wisdom to teach us. And that is the Joshua and the Great Debate.